Hi everyone, it's Nicole, and today I'm bringing you a tag video. Today I will be answering the questions from the mid-year book freakout tag. I hope I'm saying that right because I feel like I say it wrong every single time. I was tagged to do this tag by Izzy at Happy For Now, so thank you so much, Izzy. You can go check out her video. I will link it in the description box for you. For the past month, I've been doing reading vlogs, so you kind of know lately what I've been reading, but if you follow me on Twitter, I do a pinned thread of books that I've read and their star ratings and pictures of the cover. So if you follow me on Twitter, there's that for you. But I haven't done a wrap-up since February. So there are a whole lot of books that I haven't really talked about. And so before I answer the questions for the tag, I wanted to go over the books that I've rated 5 stars for this year. As I'm filming this right now, I have read a total of 173 books so far this year. By the time this video goes up on July 2nd, that number will have increased, but at the point of filming, it's 173. So I'm not going to go over all 173 books. That would take forever. I'm just going to start with the latest and work my way backward through the rest of the year. So my latest 5-star read is A Promise of Fire by Amanda Boucher. I did a little blurb about this on my vlog. Also, my romance group does a monthly series of our favorite romances for the month. And so I did feature this on that video, and that is going to be on Tosha's channel. As of filming, it is not up. I'm not sure when she is going to post it in July, but I will link her channel in the description so you can definitely check that out when it does come out. I really love this book. It has a lot of tropes that I look for in a romance, such as hate to love, alpha male protagonist, badass female character. I said it in my vlog, the fantasy romance have just been hitting me differently. I love this book so much. Next 5-star read was Neighborly by Katrina Jackson. I read this book for the Queer Blackathon, and this book follows Heaven and Calvin, who are in a relationship, and Tosha and Steven, who are married. Heaven and Calvin move into a duplex that Steven and Tosha own and rent out, and the first time Tosha sees Heaven, it is lust at first sight. What I really loved about this book is that it does have plus size rep. You can tell from the cover they actually used a plus size model to make the cover, which I love. Like, why are you going to have a plus size person in the book but not have a plus size person model on the cover? That's a whole nother topic we could talk about. Tosha and Steven have an open relationship, and their number one rule is just to be honest. So as soon as Tosha realizes that she is attracted to Heaven, she immediately tells Steven, and he is nothing but supportive for her. I really love that. I feel like in a relationship, honesty is very important. And if you're not honest and trying to hide something, that's usually when problems occur. Heaven also tells Calvin that she's attracted to Tosha, and even Calvin is nothing but supportive. So I really love the support system and just the honesty that they have with their partners. My next 5-star read is Your Dad Will Do by KATEE Robert. I didn't talk about this in any reading vlog, and I'm kind of upset with myself about that, but KATEE Robert is becoming a favorite author for me. She writes kind of forbidden or taboo romances. So in this book, we follow Lily, who is engaged to a real piece of work. She walks in on him having an affair with his secretary, but she's looking to get revenge all of her own because secretly she's been attracted to his father since the start of their relationship. So she goes to his father's house and decides to put it all on the line. And let me tell you, I don't normally go for daddy kink in romance, but at this point I feel like KATEE Robert can make me like anything, honestly. This book is so steamy and so naughty, and you know I like me some alpha male protagonist, and Shane just takes the cake for that one. My next 5-star is The Darkest Kiss by Gina Showalter. This is book number 2 in the Lords of the Underworld series. So Jen and I did live stream discussions for the first 5 books of the Lords of the Underworld series, and I will link the live stream discussion where we talk about The Darkest Kiss if you do want to watch that. It is kind of long. The Lords of the Underworld are a group of men and one woman who were created by the gods. Thousands of years ago, Pandora was chosen to protect a certain box, and all the lords felt kind of jilted, like they were created especially to protect stuff, so why weren't they chosen to protect this box? So their fragile male egos were hurt, so they decide to kill Pandora and open the box themselves. Well, in this box houses all the bad demons of the world. Anything that you think is evil in the world, there was a demon for it in that box. And as punishment, all of the lords were made to be hosts for one demon. So in The Darkest Kiss, we follow Lucian, who is the keeper of death. He is charged with taking souls either to heaven or to hell, and his love interest in this book is Anya. She is a minor goddess of anarchy, and she is just so much fun. Honestly, out of all the books in this series, and there's 15, Anya is probably my favorite character. She is so snarky and so sarcastic, and the banter between these two are just laugh out loud funny. Obviously, Lucian, being the keeper of death, is going to be very stoic and very stern, and it's just so funny watching Anya break through all those walls and watching Lucian fall in love. It is a great time. My next 5-star read is A Call for Kelp by Brie Baker. This is book number 4 in the Seaside Cafe Mystery series. Again, Jen and I did a live stream discussion on this book. And since it's book number 4 in a series, I don't really want to spoil too much. But in this series, we follow Everly, who has come back home to Charm, North Carolina after a pretty bad breakup. And she owns a iced tea shop right there on the beach. Brie Baker is just so good at the descriptions in this book. The town just feels so magical and peaceful and beautiful, and I just want to visit there. And all the shops that the main characters own. Everly owns an iced tea shop. I want to go there and have lunch and tea. Her aunts own this, it's almost like an apothecary. They are also beekeepers, and so they use the wax and the honey to make their own products. I want to go there and buy some stuff, and her aunts are just so precious and lovely. And her best friend, Amelia, she owns a bookstore, and of course I want to go there because I love bookstores. And she has little libraries all throughout town that she just, stuffs with books. And I'm like, oh my God, I want a little library in front of my house so bad. But what I really love in this series is the relationship between Everly and Grady. It is very, very slow burn, and the angst and chemistry between them is just to die for. I'm always rooting for them. Grady is so freaking swoony. He has his own traumas that he's dealing with. He is a widow and he's a single parent. He is just so strong and protective, and the way he treats Everly is just, they touch my heart. The next 5-star book is Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Leonie Taylor. The series is back here, so I can't really get the book, but this is another book series that Jen and I had live stream discussions for. I'll just link the playlist. There's a playlist of all of our live stream buddy reads, and I've had this on my TBR for a while, and reading that first book, I was really angry with myself for just sleeping on this series for so long. And there's just one quote in the very beginning that just hooked me, and it is, "Once upon a time, an angel and a devil fell in love." I mean, like, how can that not hook you? My next 5-star read is Pulp Friction by Julianne Lindsay. This is book number 2 in the Cider Shop Mystery series. In this book, we follow Winnie and her grandmother as they run an apple orchard in Blossom Valley, Virginia. Again, there is just something about these small, cozy mystery towns that just draw me in and I love. My next 5-star read is Devi's Distraction by Ruby Dixon. This is book number 7 in the Ice Home series. It is a spin-off of Ice Planet Barbarians. So this book, we follow Devi and Nadek. Nadek is a wounded warrior who is missing part of his leg, and he has just been feeling basically useless. And for just him as a man, he just feels inadequate because a part of the tribe, for the men, if you are not a warrior or a hunter, it's very hard to bring something to contribute to the tribe. Not that anyone brings down Nadek at all. That's not what they do. It's just those are the feelings that he feels. He just feels inadequate because he is not a provider for the tribe. So Nadek is done feeling like that and being carried around, and he just wants to feel useful again. And he goes to Devi, who is the brainiac of the group. She is so smart, and she was a scientist before she was abducted from Earth and brought to this planet. He goes to her and asks to make him a prosthetic leg. So it's during that journey that they develop feelings for each other. This really got to my heart. Those two are just so sweet. And from the previous books in the series, I was really starting to worry about Nadek. I really wanted him to get his happily ever after, and he got it. My next 5-star read is The Sinner by J.R. Ward. This is book number 18 in the Black Dagger Brotherhood series. Again, since it's so far into the series, it's really hard to talk about this book without giving too many spoilers. But if you're not familiar with the Black Dagger Brotherhood, it is a group of male warriors who are the protectors of the vampire race, and they have been at war with the Lessening Society for generations. The Lessening Society are soulless creatures who were created specifically to take out vampires. Going through this series, especially with the later books, you're kind of getting the feeling of this series is probably going to wrap up 18 books in. Almost everybody has had their happily ever after. She does have new characters that she does introduce, but you're getting to this point where you're like, where can this story go? But what I really loved about this book is that it wrapped up the current problem that they were dealing with, but it also introduced a new way to keep the series going, which I am a huge fan of this series, so I just love it. If you enjoy paranormal romance, I really encourage you to try this series. It is so good and steamy as heck. My next 5-star is Rafe by Rebecca Weatherspoon. I did talk about this in one of my monthly favorites for my romance group collab videos that we do, so I will link that playlist in the description for you so you can check it out. But in this book, we follow Sloane, who is a doctor, and she comes home to find that her babysitter has just abandoned her 2 girls. So she needs to get a replacement right away. She's a single mom, and she definitely relies heavily on babysitters and nannies. That's where Rafe comes in. Oh my gosh, my heart. I love Rafe so much. He is tall, handsome, bearded, he's a ginger, and he's really great with those girls. He's so sweet with them. And from the get-go, Rafe and Sloane have a mutual attraction. And what I love is that they don't beat around the bush. Sloane just comes out and says, like, hey, I'm attracted to you. We should explore this. And Rafe's like, okay. And I was here for it. I love a woman who goes after what she wants. Another 5-star read for me is Any Duchess Will Do by Tessa Dare. This is book number 4 in the Spindle Cove series. I really enjoy the Spindle Cove series, just because Spindle Cove is a place where women can escape the pressure that aristocrats place on women during this time period. You know, if you're not married by a certain age, you're a spinster, if you don't have babies, what are you doing with your life? The whole women should be seen and not heard kind of thing is very prevalent in this era. So Spindle Cove is a place where women can go and be themselves and not worry about society shaming them. So since this is book number 4, obviously the women in this town are getting their happily ever afters. So in this book, we follow Griffin, who is not settling down, is not getting married, and his mother decides to do something about that. She decides to take him to Spindle Cove because there's a number of different women in this town, and Griffin's mother says, you have to pick someone. If you don't, I'm going to do it for you. My next 5-star book is A Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. This book was just so much fun. It follows Elizabeth. She was raised as a foundling in one of the great libraries, and some of the books there are magical grimoires that, when provoked, can turn into some fearsome creatures, and she hopes to one day become a warden whose job is to basically protect all of humankind against the grimoires if they do become those monsters, but also to protect the grimoires themselves. Like they, you know, they're obviously they're magical texts and they are to be protected. So right at the beginning of the book, there is some sabotage that happens and a grimoire is loose and a warden is killed and she is implemented for the crime. It is there we meet Nathaniel Thorne, who is basically the only one who believes her. They met briefly before in the library, but he's considered her sworn enemy because he is a sorcerer, but she doesn't really have a lot of allies, so she has to take him where she gets him. As they learn more about each other and the life or death situations that are happening, and they start to trust each other, their alliance just strengthens and grows. And of course, they're both really attractive, so they're attracted to each other. And Nathaniel is so freaking sarcastic and snarky, and his one-liners are just it. They're so funny. And I listened to the audiobook, and the narrator is phenomenal. She was so good at just delivering those snarky one-liners that multiple times I was just laughing out loud. I really love this book. And my final 5-star of the year was The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I just love Erin Morgenstern's writing. I reread The Night Circus as well at the beginning of the year, and of course that book was a 5-star. This book has multiple points of view chapters, and it also has multiple different timelines. At first it can kind of feel convoluted, like there's too much going on, but really my one piece of advice when reading this book is that just to don't try to understand everything right away. I promise you, by the time the book is over, it will all make sense and your jaw will be on the floor. So those are all of my 5-star reads for the year. I didn't keep count, so I'll have Editing Nicole put in the total number of 5-star reads that I've had this year.
Hello, Editing Nicole here, and the number of 5-star reads I read this year, if you want to include my reread of The Night Circus, is 14.
So thank you for sticking with me through that, and I'll just get into the questions now. The first question for the tag is best book you've read so far this year. And honestly, I'm gonna have multiple answers for a lot of these questions, and I'm sorry. It was just really hard, especially after I have read 173 books, to choose just one for a lot of these questions. The first three that immediately come to mind are A Promise of Fire by Amanda Boucher, The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern, and A Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. Question number 2 is the best sequel you've read this year, and that would be Any Duchess Will Do by Tessa Dare. It was a part of my 5-star reads. It's just amazing. I love Tessa Dare. I love this series. You should totally read it. The next question is new releases you haven't read yet but want to. I have a number of those. The Darkest King by Gina Showalter. This is the latest book in the Lords of the Underworld series. Wicked as You Wish by Rin Chapeko. The Sound of Stars by Alcia Dow. I think that's how you say her name. I'm so sorry if that's wrong. Alpha Night by Nalini Singh. This is the latest book in the Side Changeling series. I really love that series. Honestly, I could probably name 17 more, but I'm trying not to make this video too long for you. So question number 4 is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Again, I have a number of different books for this question. Of course, Midnight Sun is on there by Stephanie Meyer. That comes out August 4th. We Free the Stars. That is the second book in the We Hunt the Flame series. Wild Rain by Beverly Jenkins. This is book number 2 in the Women Who Dare series. Thick as Thieves by Sandra Brown. Sandra Brown is my favorite author. She writes suspense romance and contemporary romance, but I really love her suspense. She just writes on another level, honestly. She releases a new book every year, and this is that book. And that comes out August 25th. Blood and Honey. This is the second book of the Serpent and Dove series. I know this book gets a lot of hate. It's very polarizing. Either you really loved it or you really hated it. And I was the one who really loved it, so I cannot wait for the second book in that series. The Ippos King by Grace Draven. This is the third book in the Wraith Kings series. The first book being Radiance and the second book being Eidolon. I adore this series so much. The first 2 books follow one couple, but this book we're getting a different couple that I fell in love with in the second book, and this one comes out September 15th. Another one is Closely Harbored Secrets. This is book number 5 in the Seaside Cafe Mystery series by Brie Baker. This comes out December 29th. You're killing me, Brie Baker. You are killing me. Question number 5 is the biggest disappointment of the year, and for that one, I don't even have to think about it, and that is Pestilence by Laura Talasa. I think that's how you say her name. I have been super intrigued by this book since last year. The cover is gorgeous, but I felt like with this beautiful cover, I was just bamboozled. But this follows the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse as they bring about the end of the world and also find their true loves. This book was just so bad, and it was dark. I mean, I like dark romances, but this just took it to a whole nother level. I personally don't like it when the male protagonist is mean or hurtful or abusive to the female protagonist, especially when they're love interests. Like, I don't want to spoil too much, but there's just this one scene in the book where she's obviously trying to get away from him because he's evil, and to keep her from doing that, he ties her to the back of his horse, but when she also tries to run away, he shoots her in the back with arrows. Somehow she survives, but that's not okay with me. There's no amount of groveling on the planet where you're gonna make me believe that she somehow is falling in love with this man after he shoots her in the back. No, it's not gonna happen. Sorry. So yeah, biggest disappointment. Question number 6 is the biggest surprise of the year, and for that one, that is Naked in Death by J.D. Robb. J.D. Robb is Nora Roberts' pen name. I knew that. I did want to read the In Death series for a while now, but it is a huge series. I think book number 50 comes out this year, or has come out already. I'm not entirely sure. While I did want to read this book, just the sheer length of the series was daunting, so I just kept putting it off and putting it off. This year I decided I did want to read that series. Didn't really know a whole lot about it, just knew it was kind of like a murder mystery suspense romance. So I started reading it, and it's futuristic. I had no idea about that going in. So it really just kicked up the enjoyment a notch for me, just having that element in there. It was surprising and really amazing. I love that book. Question number 7 is new favorite author, and that is Katee Robert. She writes dark, taboo or forbidden romances, and it was recommended to me. A number of ladies have read her in my romance group, and I started with the Wicked Villains series. It's like the Disney villains retelling, Getting There Happily Ever After. Those are just amazing. I read Your Dad Will Do. It was a 5-star read for me. I feel like every time I pick up a Katee Robert book, I mean, there's no way she can write a bad book. It's just not possible. Question number 8 is new fictional crush. And for me, that is Rafe from Rafe by Rebecca Witherspoon. There's just something about like a big burly man who's just amazing with children. And he just says all the right things and he can cook. I mean, what is not to love, honestly? Question number 9 is new favorite character. And it's really hard to choose between Yevonne from A Heart of Blood and Ashes by Mila Vane and Kat from A Promise of Fire. I'm mostly leaning towards Kat because I literally finished that book 2 days ago, so it's the freshest in my mind, but they're both badass, strong female characters, and they're just amazing. I love them so much, both of them. Question number 10 is a book that made you cry. House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. I firmly believe that Sarah J. Maas is the only person who can make me love a group of people who are only in the first 6 chapters of this book. I love them so much. And then when the thing happened, if you read the book, you know the thing that happened utterly crushed me. I was a mess. I was a wreck. I buddy read this with Summer. We did a live stream discussion on it. I will link it in the description box below for you. It was just heart-wrenching. Another book that made me cry was Dustwalker by Tiffany Roberts. This is a husband and wife writing duo, and they write romance. This is a dystopian or post-apocalyptic romance between a human woman and a cyborg man. Don't look at me that way. I know you're giving me weird looks because cyborg just came out of my mouth, but I really enjoyed this book. This is a romance. They do get together. They do have an HEA. If you don't want any spoilers, please just go forward until the picture of the book goes away, because the reason why this book brought me to tears is the literal epilogue of the book. Ronan is a cyborg. He has been around for 185 years. Lara is human. You can see where I'm going with this, because obviously being a cyborg or a bot, he's basically going to live forever if, you know, he doesn't get like dismantled or his programming doesn't like fry or whatever. And she's not, but they make it work. They do have their happily ever after. They have like adopted kids because he obviously can't impregnate her, and they have this really beautiful life. And I loved it so much until that epilogue. The epilogue is them like some 40, 50 years down the road, and she is an old woman and she is dying and he's still the same. It ends with them just knowing that once she falls asleep, she's not going to wake up. One of their kids finds them, Lara's dead, and Ronan takes out his processor. So it's like he's dead. And he leaves a note for his children saying that I can't live without your mom. Don't hate me for this. Don't try to bring me back online. He basically wants to be buried, his processor buried and his body buried, and just to be dead so they can be dead together. I was sobbing. Uncontrollable sobs. Like if I had a physical copy of this book, it would have went in the freezer. Y'all know from my last vlog that books that hurt my feelings go in the freezer. But it was an amazing book. You should totally read it. Question number 10 is book that made you happy. And that is A Call for Kelp by Bree Baker. Like I said, I love Bree's cozy mysteries. Just the atmosphere and being in that town is just so relaxing and so peaceful. And it really brings a smile to my face. Question number 10 is the most beautiful book you bought. So I have a number of different answers for this. First one is The Sound of Stars. I mean, look at this cover. It's just, oh, it is breathtaking. I love it so much. I'm sorry if there's like a glare and you can't see it, but it's just so beautiful. Of course, House of Earth and Blood, that cover and like the inside, like if you open it, the inside is just fantastic. It's beautiful. And this next book was gifted to me by Becca. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I love you. And it's the 10th anniversary edition of Clockwork Angel. I mean, this book is on another level. I mean, I just can't. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Again, I'm sorry if there's a glare, but I just, this book is on another level. I love it. The next 2 books are 2 copies of Persuasion. I have the bind up of Jane Austen's novels, but it's like the leather-bound classic edition that's just really heavy to lug around. And I was reading Persuasion for the Austen Anonymous, but the Persuasion live show was Sunday, which I will link in the description box below for you. So reading that book, I didn't want to like lug it around, so I decided to get like a standalone copy of it, which I got this one. And it's just so beautiful that I didn't want to like annotate in this book because it's just so beautiful. So I got a second copy, which is this copy. But again, it's so beautiful that I didn't want to annotate in it. I have so many copies of Pride and Prejudice. It's probably, this is going to go the same way. Every time I see a beautiful copy, I'm just going to buy it. And the last question is books you still need to read by the end of the year. I do want to finish the In Death series, or get as close to finishing the In Death series as I possibly can. I mean, I'm on book number 5 and it's a 50-book series, so I probably won't finish the series, but I want to get a good chunk of it read as possible. I do want to read the Fortress Defense series by Julianne Lindsay. That is Deadly Cover-Up and Missing in the Mountains. I do need to read the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. I read the 100,000 Kingdoms series, and that one was phenomenal, so I do want to read more of her work. And I need to read books 2 and 3 of the Kingmaker Chronicles, which is Breath of Fire and Heart on Fire. I did want to read a lot of T.S. Joyce's backlist. She writes paranormal romances featuring shifters, like any kind of shifters you can think of: bears, werewolves, armadillos. Yes, I said armadillos. She is like prolific in the paranormal romance community. I read the Bear Valley Shifters, which is 5 books in a novella, and I just loved so much. So I do want to read her entire works. Every single anticipated read from question number 4. Yeah, I need to read those. I really need to read every single book that I have stacked behind me. Oh, those are all the books that I've gotten this year. I need to read those. Yeah, so that is it. That is the mid-year book freakout tag. Again, Izzy, thank you so much for the tag. I really appreciate it. I really don't know who to tag. I feel like everybody has done this and I'm just really late to the game like always. So if you haven't done it and you want to do it, here's your tag. You're tagged officially.
Editing Nicole here again. If you made it to the end of this video, please put the stack of books emoji in the comments below.
Go ahead and like my video if you did. Comment below and subscribe to my channel, and you can follow me on all the social media platforms. The links will be in the description box below. We'll see you next time, avid readers.